the greatest downfall of men is what? Lust, sexual temptation. And unfortunately, we're unaware that science has shown us that lust, when you're a slave to it, it negatively impacts the prefrontal cortex, which affects our decision-making skills. So you look at David in his life, here it is, he's king. He had a concubine, right? Okay, look what it did to his mind. One of his warriors. You know, where I'm from, that's a worthy offense to kill David.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to sell out your boy for some sex? Even deeper, brother, it falls into a lack of self-love if we really deal on a psychological level. What makes you become a Lothario or a man who's promiscuous, that he doesn't even value his own temple, that he got to sleep with everyone else for affirmation. When I see the damage that it does to his sons, and then the ill effects of that in their graves, and then how statistics show us that homes without fathers, the boys are at a greater risk of being incarcerated, and the daughters are more likely to have or to get pregnant young, and then also reach puberty before it's time, which is now linked, scientists say, is linked to depression. And so the reason I wanted to speak on it was not to condemn Brother Shannon. It was like, look, what can we learn from my brother?
Yeah.
You know, and we're so quick in society, as you were saying, look at the content, but not the context. This has been going on for centuries.
Yeah.
Why does it keep happening? Brother was on his way to sign, what, a $40 million contract for a podcast or more than that? Yeah, okay. And we still, not him, we see a good-looking woman. That just happened to us. I want to hit that.
Mm-hmm.
The scriptures say, a man without self-control is like a city without walls. You know, in ancient times, the walls were the protection of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So without self-control, your mind is impenetrable to sin, your weaknesses, your flaws. You can't even have the foresight or the wisdom to see that if I make this decision, this is going to cost me not only my wife, my family, not only my reputation, not only my business,
everything.
But most importantly for me, the scriptures say our God is blasphemed amongst the Gentiles because of us.
Mm-hmm.
I got too much to lose, hence why I teach men it ain't good enough just to be in love with your wife. That's going to keep you on the path. You got to fear the Most High. We have this concept as men, what? I'm going to hold you accountable, bro. You hold me accountable, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's impossible. Unless I plan to live every second of my day with you.
Powerful, I can't lie. Very, very powerful. Very powerful. Like, it's so mad. Cam Newton and Jason Wilson had a podcast that I believe was 1 hour, 30 minutes long. I still haven't even finished the entire podcast because every single time I sit through the podcast and I hear anything that Jason Wilson is saying, it makes me reflective of things that I need to work on as a man, and also grow my faith within obviously Christ and just business and manhood and things like that, because he's a wise guy, man. He's been through the trenches, he's done his work, done the inner work, and has a purpose of basically just educating younger men on, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this to avoid the mistakes I've made, avoid the mistakes that a lot of people have made around, and just be better, you know? And obviously he's Christian, right? So he bases quite a lot of the things that he says on those beliefs and values, right? And it's very insightful. If you look at it, for example, just the hook of the video, it says the greatest downfall of man is lust. When you actually look at it, it's true, man. It's true. And this video got 250,000 views. And if you look at all the shorts that basically keep on going around when it comes to these two conversations, it seems to be resonating with quite a lot of people because there's a lot of wisdom to take within this. Now, they were discussing Shannon Sharpe. Now, Shannon Sharpe got accused of one or two things that, of course, we won't go into on today's video. And that put him in such a tricky situation that he almost lost everything. You know, he almost got deplatformed. He was about to literally sign a deal of worth 40 M's. Like, guys, that's life-changing money. You know what I mean? 1 million alone is enough to make a lot of people literally just, you know, run wild and be like, you know what, I need that meal. So for him to be able to lose a 40 M deal that he was about to sign simply because of lust is crazy. And the same thing applies for Michael Ward as well.
Michael Ward has appeared in court charged with multiple serious offences, including 2 accounts of rape, 2 accounts of assault by penetration, and 1 account of sexual assault. Charges relate to an incident involving one woman in January 2023. The top boy and Blue Story star 27 attends Thames Magistrates Court, where he confirms his personal details. During a short hearing, he did not enter any plea and was granted conditional bail. Ward is now due to appear in Snaresbrook Crown Court September the 25th. Hey, this is him going into court.
And yeah, man, it's crazy to see, like, when you're seeing top figures go down for things that, again, shouldn't necessarily be happening in the first place, right? But the thing is that, like what Jason said in that previous video, he was saying that this has been happening for time and time and time and time again throughout history. Why is it that men aren't necessarily learning this and actually developing some sort of discipline over that area within their life? Now, we all know that, for example, people have their urges and things like that, but at the end of the day, discipline is required in every single circumstance. And even me as a young man, like, I'm just thinking to myself that, bro, like, whenever I see people literally rise from the top, it's usually surrounding one or two things, especially when it comes to men, right? It's either ladies, right? Them going into some sort of situation with ladies, being under situations like this, or some sort of kerfuffle that, again, we don't want to really go into. Or number two, it tends to be the lack of, like, financial literacy as well, that maybe they were overspending or they weren't necessarily taking care of their finances in a certain type of way, etc. Now, it's best for us that are on the come up that we need to kind of learn from this and just think to ourselves that, bro, like, no matter whatever position you're in, it's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. It's generally not worth it. Like, trying to force yourself on someone, trying to do too much, trying to, do you know what I mean? Especially in today's climate as well. Like, it's never been okay to do these type of things just in general. And for me, I will never, ever, ever back anyone that has been, like, accused and also is found guilty of these type of things, because it's just not right. Do you know what I mean? It's not right at all. You got, like, sisters, you got a mother, you got people that you need to care about that are, you know, they're ladies, you know what I mean? So, and even talking about this subject on this channel, because remember, we're looking to stick to things like music, etc. But when I saw that reel from the Cam Newton podcast, I just said, you know what? I need to make a video about this, because especially for the people that watch this, my clips and watch my videos, a lot of us are aspiring. We want to make that money. You want to get, you know, not necessarily the clout, 'cause I don't really care about clout rap, but we want to become successful. You know what I mean? We may be from environments that didn't necessarily give us the clearest path or whatever, and we just found some sort of way, which is maybe entertainment, music, or even just doing content like how I'm doing, or even businesses as well. Outside of this, you guys already know I always push you guys to do businesses. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have an AI marketing agency, for example, outside of everything I'm doing over here. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, in saying that, whilst you're on the come up, a lot of the time with a lot of people as well, what I've noticed is that maybe when they weren't lit, they weren't necessarily getting their attention. Do you know what I mean? They weren't getting the attention that, you know, they now get, or they weren't getting the accolades and the respect from ladies and So it gets to a point where when people become famous, they develop some sort of, like, God complex, you know what I mean? And that God complex, what does it end up doing? It puts people in a position where they feel as though they're untouchable. The same thing happened with, like, the Young Philly situation as well, where you're now putting yourself as a man in very compromising positions and asserting that level of fame and power and influence, and it ends up coming back to bite you, because whatever you do in the dark will always come out into light. Do you know what I mean? And this video isn't necessarily a video to judge these people and be like, you know what, knock them while they're down. It's more so a video to just encourage the people that are coming up that, number one, it's never okay to do these type of things. Never. Like, never, 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 never. And even for me and the people around me as well, I always say, like, bro, like, we need to pray for discipline, especially when it comes to lust as well, man. It's not easy, bro, because at the end of the day, you got, you know, attractive people. Let's be real. You got attractive ladies in today's day and age. Like, you'll go on social media and the first thing you're seeing on TikTok, that's the reason why I have to go for, like, TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram and stuff. If you scrolling, all of a sudden you now see, like, yanch in your face, bro. And you're just thinking, oh my days, like, I didn't ask for this, you know what I'm saying? And it puts you in compromising positions. Now, discipline is something that you need to work on. No one's ever born with discipline, but it's something that is a skill that is developed over a period of time. The more you say no to things, the more that naturally, as it says in scripture, you know, the more you flee from the devil will actually flee from you. And that just goes for, like, people that aren't necessarily within faith, for example. the more you say no to things, and the more that you starve yourself of all these addictions and, you know, lust and looking at women a certain type of way and asserting yourself, etc. We're not saying that obviously if you see like a fine lady, don't move to her. 'Cause at the end of the day, like we're guys, you know what I mean? But if she says no, it's a no. Do you know what I mean? If it gets to a point of, for example, intimacy, like in reality, even as a Christian, like man's supposed to be on a celibate journey anyways. But speaking for guys that aren't necessarily in faith and stuff like that, because, you know, like that's just the reality, you know, not everyone believes what I believe. But speaking for other guys, if it ever gets to a point where, for example, you notice that, okay, cool, you're out with a lady, cool, things are getting a bit heated, and now, you know, like she's maybe, for example, intoxicated, I always say to the guys, nah, just don't do it. Or, for example, if it gets to a point where it's like, okay, no, she said a no. Like, no matter whatever you're thinking or doing or whatever, bro, just allow it, man. It's not worth it, fam. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, and it will never be worth it. Never, because that decision you've made, number one, is going to impact that person for the rest of their life. Like, I don't think I've ever run into a lady that hasn't had a bad experience when it comes to this type of stuff, whether they've gone through, you know, some of these things that we're talking about today. And it's very, very sad to see that this cycle keeps on happening. And with me, I'm always on the side of accountability. We need to be able to take more accountability and not put ourselves in situations like this, because every single time that someone's now trying to get this money, like I said earlier, get money, build their business, etc., the two things that always bring them down tends to always be lust and, you know, mismanagement of like finances and stuff like that. And it's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it. And lastly, we got some game from DD Gray. Now, for those that don't know DD Gray, he, in my opinion, he's a legend, man. I feel like if he's consistent when it comes to creating content like this, oh my day, he's going to blow up like crazy. But in saying that, he talks about this exact same subjects and just gives some sort of advice for the younger lot and for guys that basically watch and tune into his content, right? Understand how to actually master lust. And outside of that, just giving some tips on how to basically navigate within this current climate that we're currently in.
If you are a high profile guy, date women who are on your level or above. And when I say on your level, I mean on your level of visibility. That makes sense? And then the two of you, it's transferable. Like, just date people on your level, basically. And my second point, when speaking about the three guys I've just mentioned, the problem with a lot of high profile guys is they have a level of entitlement. And I've seen this with them, yeah? They think just because of who they are, women are supposed to just open their legs for them. And it's like, life doesn't go like that. It really doesn't. Like, I know you may think, cool, I've got how many hundreds of thousands of followers. This girl's supposed to just lay down with me. Nah, it doesn't work like that. And the problem with a lot of well-known guys or established guys, their entitlement breeds into crossing boundaries, yeah? They start taking liberties with people's daughters because they naturally believe this person belongs to me because of who I am. And I've come here to tell you again, life does not work like that.
Ever.
Number one, nobody belongs to anybody. Number two, brother, I know people always say, oh, women love clout, women are clout chasers. That's true to a degree. But you have to do things case by case. Not every woman is the same. So just because she slept with you just because of who you are and you've got a blue tick, that doesn't mean this one over here is going to sleep with you as well. You could have 100 million followers. She might not just think, she just might think, yo, this guy's just not attractive. She's just not feeling you. And that's not a crime. Do you understand? So it's the entitlement I've noticed with a lot of these high profile guys. They think like, oh, because of who I am, like girls are supposed to just like me. And this is why they get into the situations they get into, because they don't know how to take no for an answer because they're entitled. And then when they get bagged and they get handcuffed, they start crying about, oh, you lot have judged me guilty before I've been proven innocent. And all of these stuff. No, yeah. Box clever. Do you understand? Be smart. Know what you're doing. So in the first example that I gave, you cannot be going around dating normal women, introducing them to a lifestyle that you have no intentions of maintaining, using her. Nobody likes to feel used, let alone women. Using her, kicking her to the curb, and expecting her not to have any grievances about that. That's common sense, my guy. There are some things you just don't do as a human being. Yeah? And number two is just entitlement. Women do not owe you their crutches. You cannot be thinking, oh, because of who I am, I should just get a bag of girls. So look in the mirror. If you are that kind of guy, if you are a guy that's well known or you got followers or whatever, look in the mirror and say to yourself, yes, I might be well known, but I am not Jesus. Yeah? Get rid of that God complex because you'll get in trouble. Exactly. All right.
Simple. Do you know what I mean? And in saying this, only thing I can basically say to the guys, right, is that in reality, the best solution is literally to understand how to control your lust and do it for faith-based reasons. You know what I mean? And those faith-based reasons could be, for example, like just waiting until marriage and stuff like that. I wish I did, you know what I mean, to be honest. But waiting until marriage and actually making sure that, okay, cool, you have one missus that you hold down and you do your thing with, etc., and you just build with, because at the end of the day, like, that's what this entire thing was even meant for, you know what I mean? Being intimate, you're supposed to be using it for either connection or procreation, when we're actually like calling a spade a spade. But also in the world that we are in, we can't ignore the fact that obviously people are out here, do you know what I mean? And like, you know what I mean? Just saying, like, I've been there as well. In saying that, best thing to kind of do is just understand the mindset of realizing that, bro, clout will never benefit you in these type of ways. Because people feel as if though, like, the more clout you have, etc., the more that you're going to basically be in a position of, you know, actually taking advantage of people. But you're not realizing that the more clout you have, the more you're basically just a target for these type of things. Number one, you're a target to yourself, because if you have that much power, clout, and fame, and you don't know how to contain and actually use it for the right type of things, you can put yourself in compromising position, like how these guys have done. Number two, you could also be a lick as well. You know what I mean? Like, I come from an area where I've literally seen the maddest of things, bro. Like, I've seen the maddest of things, and I don't even want to make light of the situations, but I've seen like set up chicks. I've seen guys basically lose it all, basically based on them portraying themselves to be the it guy. All of a sudden they get set up by a girl or set up by guys. It's just long, innit? It's long, bro. So it all goes back down to that same thing that was mentioned at the beginning of the video, where lust is probably the biggest destroyer of successful men. Do you get it? And unless we're able to basically control that, we're going to keep on going through these type of cycles. And it's something I don't want anyone that watches my type of content or really messes with myself or anything like that to basically go through. And yeah, man, discipline is key, man. As we get older, we have to become way more disciplined. Obviously, in the younger years, you may have done like some mistakes or whatever, but past the age of, to be honest, from the get-go, people should just be taught how to basically maneuver just in general, right? But let's say, for example, if you see like a 14-year-old do something that's stupid to a lady, I'm not saying like severe cases like SA or, for example, Grape, right? But I'm saying like he, I don't know, is beefing with a girl or something like that. You know, these like them petty kind of things, right? Obviously, you would just now blame it on the age. Now, you got grown men doing it. That same grown man in the same situation, we're going to now look at you like you're stupid. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, when you're looking at obviously being intimate, you need to make sure that, just period, your pattern. The older you get, though, the less excuses that people can basically make for you, and the higher you climb in terms of fame and status and stuff like that as well. You got to realize that people will make less excuses for you as well, because you're in a place of influence, right? We even saw the other day that a CEO of a big company got fired because he had his mistress literally in a concert, and that's crazy. Do you know what I mean? Number one is you're married. Number two, you're not representing the company in a proper way. Number three, you're just out there just I was saying, like, bro, you feel me? So this is how great men basically get defeated, and it's a different type of content I'm doing today. I can't lie to you. As you guys can probably tell, it's a bit like kind of new, and I'm just like, damn, like, how do I even articulate this? Because it's a very sensitive topic, right? And I want you guys to gain as much value as possible from my videos. You get it? But yeah, my people, if you enjoy content like this, comment down below and just let me know that you want to hear more topics and more like real stuff. 'Cause I know a lot of the stuff that we do at the beginning, it was supposed to be just music marketing and music business, etc. But I post every single day. I want to keep it fresh and just show you guys different sides of mine as well. So sometimes we're doing laughing and kiki, etc. But if you like more serious topics like this, make sure to comment down below and I'll make sure to provide that for you as well. But my people, make sure to follow. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. And thank you so much for supporting the boy.